joining me today. My friend who works at one of the local schools in Clyde happened to be either walking in or out of the school that she works at over the summer vacation and found two matching chairs like this with trash written on them. So she waited and she managed to put both of them into her car and she brought them to me. So let's get on with it. The first thing I'm going to do is remove the feet. I put all of the screws into little bags so I don't lose them. Then, as with any other project, remove the base cloth. Undo these bolts. There's 5, and usually once you start them, you can undo them with your fingers. Put all of your bolts in a bag to keep them safe. Lift the pieces apart. You don't have to do everything the way it was originally done. She had wanted velvet, so I'd already planned on doing it the way I'm going to do it. 1/2 inch up from there. I'll double check everything in a minute. All the way down. So it'll be 4 pieces, 23 inches or thereabouts across the width of the fabric. Now my friend has chosen to do it in this striped fabric. I was a little bit worried that the pattern repeat might be a bit off, but it's from here to here, which is actually a nice size. I shouldn't lose too much with that. My second thought is I don't want any of the white to be on the bottom. I want it to be a grey so that it doesn't show up any dirt. White will soon get dirty, especially at the front where people put their feet. I'm going to take it from there, I think, and make some measurements. There's my 23 inches. If I take it down just a wee tad, I think that'll have to be okay. Here is the top of here. I'm actually going to cut to the next pattern repeat and I'll work it out from there. So I'm going to cut along here across the top in as straight a line as I can. Lay my pattern on top of here to match it up. Pull it into place. My next piece is here. So I'm going to cut this piece all the way across. This is my second piece, and then I've got 2 more. Now the next piece I want to cut comes from here. There's no proper seam, so I'm going to have to guesstimate at the moment to about here, which is about 20 inches. I have this coming over, it's 3¼ inches. I've pinned it so it can stay straight. This is the inside arm. If I pull this over just a little bit, I can match the pattern and it will go on round. That's what I will do on the front of the arms only. That looks about there. I'm going to fold that back. I need 1/2 inch seam allowance. I am going to cut 2 inches off all the way up on this side only. Just in case, and measure up and cut till I get to the top. Bring that up because it'll be easier. Pin that back down. Pull that to here. My 1/2 inch has to start from there. That and that match. Here I have to go back this way for my seam allowance. I'm just going to mark that, move that, and I will need to cut off about 2½ inches from that side. Move that down. I've got my 1/2 inch there, that goes around there. So I'm going to just pop this back in for a second. I'm going to cut top 11 inches off. So it comes in here because I do need to be able to cross the fabric slightly. 2½ inches down this side. Put a couple of pins in to hold it. This is so I remember which side goes where. That goes around here, and now I need to know how wide this has to be. The measure from here to the seam, 7¼ but I've only got 1 seam going in, so I need to make sure the top is 7¾ because I'm going to bring it over and then put the seam down the side. I'm going to measure from the seam here to the seam here. So my inside arm has to be 32. I'm going to do it this way because I don't want to accidentally cut the wrong piece. So I'm going to measure across 32 inches and cut the side off that I don't need. I have cut my centre mark here on the outside arm and here on the inside arm. The cross pins denote that that's the top. Move that over there. Here is an outside arm. Now first off, make sure that your fabric is going the same way. Here's the pattern repeat. I'm going to lay that one on top of here like this so that that all matches down this side. The one I'm using was the original one that I cut. It is slightly shorter than the subsequent ones I cut, but that all looks nice and even. Cut down here, because this piece I don't need to line up exactly. And again, I'm just going to cut this down. I don't need all that on there because that goes on the inside of the arm. Make a little nick here for the centre at the top. It doesn't have to be too deep because I don't want it fraying. That's the outside arm on the right hand side. Again, I have worked out which pattern repeat. Cut all the way down here, all the way along here to match, then down on the other side. Put a little V there to mark the centre. Put cross pins on the top here so I know that that's the top. I always use the original that I cut as my template. This is the top of the outside arm. This is the top of the inside arm. Line those up centre mark to centre mark, and I can take those pins out. I just always mark things until I actually get around to putting them together. The reason is I might drop them, move them before I know I've mislaid everything. This is the front of the arm, cut in about 1/4 of an inch at an angle like that, so that that can at least start going around the corner. Pin this here, pull that out like that, pin in the centre here as I did on the other corner, cut in and pull that back down so it opens up and into place. I can't even remember which side matches now. I better do the same on this side. One of them matches. They might not quite line up just yet until I get sewing. And again on the corner so I can pull that round. And this side looks like it might be the side that actually matches. They should both line up, but one lines up better than the other. If I do this way, yeah, so this is the right side and just needs to be altered at the top slightly. So I think that's that one. So I'm going to pin each stripe. I have it all lined up. That carries on going down there. I'm going to start around about here. I'm also going to spray some silicone on all the way to the top. Pop that with my 1/2 inch seam allowance, and I'm going to pull that back slightly, put everything down, forward and back, pull my first pin out so that everything's steady, and I'm going to sew up to the next section. And with the luck, all of this is going to go in straight. It has released that, and there's the top there. So I'll do that. Straighten this up onto there slightly, pull this one in like that. It's only a little bit. Needle down, foot up, twist it, straighten the fabric out underneath, put your foot down, and then along the top here. This is the front of the arm coming to the top of the arm here. Take my pin out, pull this back slightly, splash on there. Needle down, foot up, pull everything around and into place. Keeping my 1/2 inch seam allowance. Make sure my centre mark is still in place. That is crucial to keeping everything where it's meant to be going. Pull the fabrics against each other. Keeping the raw edges together. Remove that one in case it interferes with what I want doing. A bit more of this. Pull that pin out and carry on going over to the other side of that mark. Again, line it up with my 1/2 inch mark, which is there. Forward and back. You will find sometimes that you have to learn these things by trial and error. And once I've worked the first one out, the rest will just pop in the way they should do. It might be that I have to start both ends and then work into the middle. Get up to that corner. And if this one doesn't quite line up, it won't matter too much because it is right behind the back of the arm where it joins the outside back. I'm going to sew that a little ways further up before I turn it. Move that pin so it moves better. Needle down, foot up. And it would be nice if this absolutely sews into place, but it doesn't look like it will. I'm just going to pull that back slightly and sew. I'm going to just take this stitching out, ease it round, and then sew towards the centre where I had marked it because it's not wanting to do what I want it to do. That's okay. Not the first time, certainly won't be the last time. Let's cut those. Just come round that top corner. I think I just need to undo a couple more stitches and that will just pull in nice and even. So the answer to this is do both sides up to the top and then across to the center. That's still a bit gappy, so I think by the time I've pulled it to the center it will fit nicely. At least now I know how to do all of these. Just a little nick on the seam stitches, only not the fabric, although that's a little bit awkward not to be honest. I'm going to top stitch this. Now I want this to go around like that because I would need to hide that. Maybe cut a little bit more off there. Fold that over and around like that, and that follows that pattern. So I'm going to put 2 pins in here to hold it. The second one right on this corner. I'm going to come up here around, and on the other side, let's have a look, I'm going to cut it back exactly the same way, taking some of that bulk out because I don't want it there. Fold that over like that. Pull that out and around. Pull that in because that's going to go inside the back. 2 pins in here, one there and one there to hold it. That should secure everything that I need in place. Originally the fabric was folded the other way and the top stitching went all the way down, but I want it to be on the inside arm fabric as it goes round. Push that so it's the wrong way round. It should make it easier. Pop that under there like that. Make sure all of the seams are going underneath. Pop that down and top stitch. Put the needle down and pick the foot up. Twist everything into place, put the foot down. Keep all of your seam underneath this side. I'm just top stitching it. This is a fabric that shreds, so I feel that a more stitching holding pieces in together will be better so that it doesn't shred and fall apart. Just make sure that your seam is tight when you do it this way. Now the top is a little bit awkward because it does zig and zag to go around the arms. I'm going to pull that as far back as I can. Allow it to twist into shape, but make sure that your seam stays in the direction it needs to be. The seam is always pointing this way, no matter which direction I'm going in. And now I'm coming to the top corner, and again I want all of that seam to be facing this way. So I might have to go under there a couple of times and push it into place. It's all going in the right direction. No, maybe not. There we go. Needle down, foot up, twist and manoeuvre a little bit as you go around that corner. Straighten everything out, and again just make sure that the seams are facing the same direction. Put down and sew. Along the top's a lot easier because all the fabric is woven the same way. And I'll carry on going around the rest of this and then do the other one. This is the arm, and I'm going to pop this over, line up the 2 ends here and start pulling those down just a little bit to hold it, otherwise it twists. And then the same on this side, pop that down, work either side until it's in position. Because it's not soft like a cushion, you have to ease a little bit at a time both sides until it's far enough down. And then ease it into place. The seam here needs to be a little bit further back. Here is more or less on that edge, so I'm quite pleased with that. A little bit of wriggling and it will be perfect. On this particular one, this is the back of the arm and this is the front. So I'm going to make sure that the front looks straight. Pull that down a little bit more, I think. I'm going to come across here and there should be an inch gap from here up or thereabouts. And I'm not pulling out, I'm just pulling it straight down like that and into place. I'm going to leave these side pieces until I have the base in. Now, in order to get it more or less where I want it, I'm just going to push it down like this to start off with, because it is caught up on the foam and I don't want it to be too uneven. I like the positioning of the front of the arm. I'm not 100% sure about the back, so I'm going to just rub it down again. As long as it looks even on both sides, that's all that matters. Now, having done that, pull that down towards me just a little bit. I'm not going to pull too much because I do want all these pieces to look even. I'm starting in the centre. Here is that part there. Bring that down and make sure that it corresponds there. And the same on the back here. You can see where this line goes, and that's the line I'm trying to follow. There we go, nicely in. Pull up this and secure along here too, so that it's even. I'm not going to do a crisp corner, I'm just going to bring it in, not too tight because that's sharp. Cut some of that out of there. I'm going to bring this in here and secure it. On here, I'm going to pull that around there to take some of that bulk out. Smush it in so it's not too much fabric. So again, pull it up and into place. Cut it back. The outer corner, just bring it in. Pulling it forward into the chair frame. Kind of wrinkle it in. I actually don't have to do anything very much with that. I'm going to just pull it over and secure it. And the same here and secure it. I could take it round. I'll do the same up here. Just pull it over, secure it and secure it. Before I do anything, this is the hole that I need to make so that I can put the bolt through. So I'm going to jam that through and open that up slightly. I don't need it to be too big, just enough that the bolt will go through and not get caught up on anything. If I do this now, I won't confuse the arms for each other. Then I'll do the same with the other one so I know which side of the chair to be looking at. Well, they've taken it all the way back here, so I'll do the same. All the way around comes to, say, 42 inches. Maybe I should cut my outside as well, which is 27.5. Now the inside back and the seat have these squares sewn onto them and it holds this foam in place. I am going to unstitch everything to take that foam out. It's a bind, but I don't have any really thin foam to replace it and I need it on the chair, so I am just going to work my way through and get it separated. I can't use the cover for anything. When you're recycling things, you have to put yourself out. This is the top of the seat and I don't have enough fabric to go all the way through, so I'm going to pop this under here. It's just going to be a foot width in from the outside edge and I'm going to sew to the end. As long as it goes in evenly, I'm not worried about fabrics walking on each other. I'm a little bit worried about the fabric fraying, although it does have a rubberized back, so I am going to top stitch that into position. Just gives a secondary security on this. It's about 1/8 of an inch in from the fold. And I'm not worrying about keeping it exact, nobody's going to see it. Now the chair seat fabric does go over the top of the chair and down the sides, but the height of the foam on top means I have nothing to secure the fabric into. So again, I'm going to add a piece of fabric to each side. Again, I'm going to top stitch it to secure it, and I'll do the same on the other side of the seat. Got my centre mark here and here, so I'm going to pull that down, pop that into here. What I'm looking for is the matching pattern to here, which I believe is this one here. Pull that down, that goes over about equally there. It doesn't have to be exactly in the middle, it was just to really give me some idea of where the middle should be. Now the pattern isn't going to match all the way around, but it does have to be level. I think that's it. I'm going to put a couple of staples here just to hold it, and I'm going to pull the back in first. I'm going to lift it just slightly because the foam on top needs to be pulled into place. If I put the back in where it is and then pull it down, everything should be going in line to match here. I put my centre mark in and I'm just pushing that underneath the foam and to the back. Just a little bit of tautness there. When I come to pull it in, I'm going to pull it down at the front. The line along the back here has to be as straight as possible. Because I don't want these lines to go out, I'm going to pull that in here and secure it. Trying to make sure that that is even along the top there. I wouldn't normally do a chair like this, it's just that there's nothing really to pull it against. Work in the back to put it into shape. I think that'll probably do actually. Shaping here. I don't want to go too far forward because I am going to be pulling this in. Again on this side, I'm going to pull this back slightly so that this line is along the front edge here. I'm not pulling it one way or the other, I'm literally just pulling it over the edge of the seat there. I have to give it a little bit more shaping. I'm just going to pull this in as I did on the other side to about here. Now because I don't want to be pulling this too far back, I'm just going to pull it down so it's level almost with the bottom of there and staple it in here. And I'm not really fussed about what happens in that corner, so I am going to just kind of flip it over a little bit and secure it so it doesn't go anywhere. And the same here, I'm just going to pull this in, flip it down a bit and secure it, and then make sure it's even across the bottom. I've just taken out the two stabilizing staples here. By coming from the back all the way down to the front, I'm going to make sure that this pattern here and this pattern here match, and then I'll bring everything in to match those. At this top corner, I'm going to bring that down so this looks more even here and staple that into place. I'm not going to put a proper corner on it, just enough to hold the fabrics in place. Now for here, just pull slightly and make sure this goes in. The side here can come under and in quite straight up. Pull that into place here. Pull all of these tight, just straight across. Pull this down and into place. That across and in almost straight, that'll do. Pull this in and put a little bit of a corner on there. Like that. Once the sides are in, it'll all hold and hide everything. This is the outside and inside back, and I want a template. I'm just going to cut this along here to the top, and you will see that they had a back which came all the way over the top. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to put the back all the way around to the sides. So I'm going to take that to there like that and cut across here and across the top and down the other side. As I did with the seat, remove the foam from the back. The cover needs to be gone. This is the inside back of the seat. So I lay this here. This pattern matches this, so this is the top of the outside back. Remove this part for now. I'll fold that in half for now. And here is the outside back that I've just taken off. I'm going to line up those side seams, and if I lay that one on top of there like that, they're about the same. I'm going to cut up the side here because keeping something folded on something folded is not always the easiest thing to do. Now this one seems a little bit over, so I'm going to keep the one on the underside. Now I have to have at least ½ inch at the top for the seam allowance, which goes there. Selvages are about the same place. Everything's even. This is on the fold, and because the fabric's quite thick, I'm only going to cut one side at a time. So I'm going to cut with about ½ inch to spare along here, I'm going to come across here like that, and then allow myself 1/2 inch seam allowance up to the top. Leaving everything in position, I'm going to cut up the bottom side of this. That's my new outside back. As I said before, you don't have to have everything cut the way it was if something else will suit. Just as with the arms, I'm going to cut my centre mark there and my centre mark here. This is the inside back, and unlike the seat, this time I've got to take some away, and I need it finish width of 23.5 inches, so half is 12.25. There's my centre mark, 12.25. I'm going to make a cut on that side and make a cut on this side at 24.5. I have to remove 1 inch on this side, and I think it's 1 inch on the other side, all the way down. I'm going to start in the centre. Unlike the other ones, I started at the lower edge of the inside arms. Open this up and pin these into place. The side will come around just like it did on the top of the arms, and then this will come down into place here. I will sew it as I had before. Unlike the arms, where I started at the lower side of the inside arm, I'm actually going to start in the centre back. So I'm going to pin that, make my way out to the first corner, and then across the top. I'm only pinning it so I know where everything goes. When I sew it, it will alter slightly. And then down the front. Now it's not going to line up exactly because this is at an angle, and I'll do the same on the other side. I'm going to put silicone on, line up my centre marks, otherwise the machine will not be wanting to go through and the needle will start getting really gunky and horrible. And sew to the end here. Remove that, and I'm going to remove that. As I say, I put it in just so that I can see where everything goes before I start. I'm not pulling anything, I'm just letting it work its way through. A little bit more silicone. I'm going to work my way to the first corner, keeping my raw edges together. So I can turn it. I'm going to just put a little nick under there, not too far because I don't want to cause any of this to fray. Oops, bring the needle up slightly, foot up so there's enough space. Bring everything around and into line. Keep my 1/2 inch seam allowance. I'm going to take those out as well. This one here, I'm going to put that across the bottom so I know where I'm going to at least. Raw sides together. It's the top one I need to make a little clip in, not too far. I'm going to come into there. It might take me a couple of times to get the right turn. Needle down, foot up and turn. That bottom one has to be on the 1/2 inch mark. I think that's close enough. It'll come in as I sew. So just put that there. I put the pin at the bottom where that was, and the inside has moved up to the bottom of there. It might change as I sew. I'm not pulling it, I'm just going to hold it in position. I need to know where that mark is. Because I need to match it up on the other side when I do that. Not pull it, just place it and come off. At the bottom, do forward and back. Swap it over, put it back under. At the centre mark, take my pins out so I can move everything and do exactly the same around the top. Get more or less to the end there, clip it. I can feel the fabric underneath here, so maybe 1-2 stitches, lift the foot up, turn it, remove those from there and mark at the bottom there. Now the top of the inside back stays still and the outside back is moved around. I will check to see where that falls on there. That doesn't look right. Okay, I'm not happy with the way the second side is going in, mainly because this is shaped. So I have marked across the height that this needs to go in, pin it there, and slide this underneath. I just feel that the fabric's just going to walk too much. It's rubberized on the back and it's quite a heavy fabric, so forward and back. And I'm going to make my way to the top where I think it goes. Keeping those raw edges together. and not pulling one against the other, just holding them there. Hopefully this will work. As I get to the top, which is there, I'm going to clip it just a couple of times because I'm really not sure where the turn is until I get there. I think that's too far. Take that stitch out and put it down there. Lift the foot and turn it and see where I get to. No, it needed one more stitch. That's okay. That's easily put in. One more stitch and then work out where everything goes, and it all goes there. The only problem I can see is this. So I'm going to start unstitching here and then sewing it into place. I probably only need to undo it to that corner. I've undone back to the corner and I am going to sew that in. Into there and then around, I think. I don't think I need to do anything else. I think that'll just go in perfectly. I think it did. As I did before, I'm going to top stitch, and I'm going to top stitch to the center of the inside. Because the arms are doing that, I have to do the back like it as well. Again, pop this on upside down, put that through with the back and the side on there, and just bring it down a little ways and hook that over those corners the same way. Ease it down and into place, both sides. Put that into there a little bit better, and then let's see how all of that fits. It's not going to be perfect anyway because of the angle, but I think that works. If I pull this grey here onto the bottom, it will be even all the way through. I'm going to start at this end. I've pulled the back into place and I need to secure this too. Like I did before, push all of that down and into position across the back and secure it. If I remember rightly, the other one was slightly up, so this will be fine, and it's at the back of the chair, so I'm not going to worry too much. And then I'll pull the sides in. I'm going to cut out all the bolt holes that I need. There's that one there. I'll cut this one out and then I'll do the other side exactly the same way. Got to find holes for bolts on this side as well, otherwise I don't go through. I put the bolts back in and I cinched these little things right down and into the wood, so I'm pleased with them. They all lined up nicely, and now for the bottom cloth, fold that over. I'm just going to put a couple of staples while I work on it. I'll start in the middle, then infill. These chairs I did for my friend about 6 months ago. I realised when I was editing the film that I'd forgotten to show them. And this is the back. You can see where the stripes go across. They didn't quite line up like I wanted them to. The quantity of fabric I had was a little bit tight, and she wasn't sure if she wanted to have lumbar pillows, so I had to leave a little bit extra fabric for those in case.